What is up everyone, John here. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at repairing or mending a rip in your trousers or your pants, whether you've walked off the extra length and you've got fraying right along the end of the cuff right there, or whether in this case I caught it on something and it ripped. I just walked right through it and it just tore that out. I'm going to show you guys how to mend this and have it so it doesn't show. So what we're going to do first is we're going to darn this, and then we're going to take it in about 3/4 of an inch to hide this. The purpose of darning this is so that we don't have to make that hem super short. So we salvage all this fabric and the actual darning of the material will be hidden on the inside. So let's go ahead, start taking this seam apart, and then you'll get to see the repair. Okay, here's the hem on our trousers. So what we want to do is we just want to take the hem out all the way around the pants, because the pants are just going to have to be hemmed in after the rip is darned. So we're just going to start that and just pull it apart, and everyone rips their seams a little bit differently. Let's see if I can get a good grab on one of these and start pulling it apart. And there we go. And once you get it started, you can usually flip it over like this and start going to town on it. Okay, so now I've got the hem ripped, and you can see just what we're dealing with here, the size of that hole. It's a pretty big little hole in those pants. I'm just gonna patch that right up. So the first thing I wanna do is just sort of trim off this extra material that's already starting to fray, because that's just gonna create a mess whenever we do the darning. We don't wanna have any loose threads if we can help it. The whole purpose of this is to prevent loose threads from coming out anymore and prevent unraveling of this fabric once it's been darned. So I'm gonna go ahead, close those up, move this over here, and then we're gonna have to change the color of our thread in our sewing machine. I've got white thread in here right now. I'm gonna switch over to to an off color black, because gray on this is it's too light. Even though these are charcoal gray pants, a lot of people say to go for a lighter color, it's just too much. So in this case, this is a little bit better match. You just have to go by your eye. Sometimes a darker color will work, sometimes a lighter color will work. So you just have to trust your eye. We're gonna thread our sewing machine. Okay, we're ready to darn. And what I like to do when I'm darning is I like to remove the presser foot completely. I know you can get a darning presser foot. I don't have one, so I'm just going to remove it and freehand this. Let's just slip this right over the sleeve end of our sewing machine. It might help to press this to get the creases out. I'm going to try to do this freehand without pressing it, just to save a little bit of time. I'm going to switch this over to number 10. That's going to be our longest stitch. Even though we're not using a presser foot, that's going to give us the slowest stitch, so I have a little more control over the darning. So let's go ahead. We're just going to run a stitch back here, back and forth a few times just to lock it, and then let's start running across it. Keep that fabric stretched tight, make sure everything's lined up. Then we're just going to close that up slowly. Run it across like this. Okay, we're going to go up and down. Let's see how we're looking and feeling right now. That's about right. The whole purpose of this is to cross stitching, basically create a new stitch. So we're going one way, then the other way, to just fill in that hole. All right. And I think that might be enough. So I'm just going to go all the way around this. Just form a circle around it. Just up a little bit of fabric there. Let's work that out. And we're going to go back and forth to lock the thread. And we're done. And because we're doing this, I'm going to have to do the other leg too. So I've already unstitched it, and I did all that off camera, and I pressed it too. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this one. let's replace our presser foot. Let's start hemming our pants. All right, so after looking at this, I've decided I want to do a 1-inch rolled hem on this. So we're just going to fold this in and set it right under the presser foot and bring her right to 1 inch. Let's actually find where we want our hem to be. And we're going to roll this under to give us a 1-inch hem. So that's 1 inch right there. Let's bring this over here. There we go. We'll set her down. Let's line our seam up. We want to find our edge of our hem where it's pressed in. And we're going to roll this in to 1 inch. We're just going to feed her through the machine. Just back stitch. And then forward stitch. Set our hem. Run it through the other stitch and back stitch. All right, here's the repair, and hopefully now you can see why I darned this. If I had cut all this extra material out that was ripped, I would have ended up losing about 1.5 inches to 2 inches off of my pants. But because I was able to darn this, I only lost about 3/4 of an inch. I was able to save this material and sew right over it, so it actually created a patch and repaired the fabric so I could redo a new hem on this. So that's the reason for darning that, and it also prevents it from fraying in that area. So here's what it looks like from the outside. You'd never know. Right here's our patch, right over here. You'd never know that it was repaired. It's as simple as that. Okay, so here's my little end of video PSA for this. If you found yourself having a hard time finding clothes that fit you off the rack, or if you find yourself frequently ripping clothes, let's say you work around sharp metal objects all day, like my dad used to do in the machine shop, where they would work on excavators, rebuilding excavators, and on mining equipment. In those cases, we ended up going through a bunch of pants. They'd get holes in them, and after a few washing, those holes would be about this big, and you'd have to throw the pants out, or you'd have to find someone who knows how to patch them and patch them. Buying one of these saves you a lot of trouble, and it's not emasculine to know how to do a few stitches on a sewing machine and repair your clothes if they get ripped, and know how to take care of your stuff. In the same breath, if you have a hard time finding clothes that fit you, this is a great way to save you money on tailoring or just to look sharp. I have a hard time finding dress shirts that fit me, so I cannot button up a medium shirt. This is a large and it just barely buttons. I have a 16.5-inch neck, but I have a 40-inch chest. So to get a shirt that fits me properly around the neck that I can button up, I have to buy a large, but then I'm swimming in fabric around my torso. So for me, I can take the shirt in, either taking it in on the sides or taking it in with darts. I can take my sleeves in if they're too long or too baggy, and it doesn't take that much time once you get skilled with it, and it's not emasculine to know how to repair your clothes and to repair and take care of what you own. You know, that's part of being frugal. So anyway, that's my little PSA at the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.